Manjuan.
Can you ask to me? Yeah, sure. So myself, Dennis Panchal. Actually, I am React Native developer. Like I have around experience as 4 years. So like I have developed so many apps in like iOS, Android, and both of the platforms. So currently, still I am working on that one of the project. Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
Hello. Okay. So, how do you work with your team for the project and what coordinations are necessary?
Okay. So basically, for the working with the project, like we have to communicate via some of the platforms. Like right now, we are communicating via the Teams as well and the Zoom as well. So like the communication is the main key. You have to work in the project. So like suppose you are working with some of the usual tasks and you are stuck in somewhere. So it is good if you are talking with some of your colleagues and try to resolve that issue. So you can not expending your working time, and the result is not impacting your output as well. So like for these circumstances you can working with the team, and the coordination is the main key. Yeah.
Okay. And can you walk us through the software development life cycle?
Sure. So the basically are 7 phases. So like first we have to done the planning, then analyzing, then designing, then development, then a QSR testing in our app, and then the last part is the maintenance. So these are the life cycle that like we have to follow as a software engineer.
Okay, so good evening, Danish bhai. Myself, Harsh Jani,
Yeah.
and my yes, my first question is, as per you, what are the hardest parts of developing the software, and why?
Okay. So like the hardest passing, like for me, there is nothing hardest part. Everything is possible, but there is some scenario. Like suppose you have to make the application or software that is not beyond your mind or idea. Like some like you are like working with some of the only this pinch of the functionality, but you got some of the functionality like you have to working with AI or ML. So for this specific topics, you does not have any idea, like you have to done the R&D for that, and like gather some of the information regarding this, like how we can implement this AI things into our project. So that is the thing, you have to done the R&D and make the POC. So that this kind of things, with these things we can say this is the hardest, but we can achieve this by some of the specific estimated time.
Excuse me. Can you please define the term R&D and POC?
Yeah, sure. So the R&D means research and development, and the POC means proof of concept.
Okay.
These are the two main words like we can communicate in our development team.
Okay, so my second question is, what are the phases for software development? In
Sorry,
which phases are they given? Uh,
I
what are
think.
the phases of software development? In which phases are they given?
Okay, the phases means like you have to make our project in maintainability, and also like you have to make sure there is no tech debt after your planning. So like if you have to like make a good project, like you have to go through all the phases, and like with your passes, like all the phases, you can achieve your best software by these manners. Like when you are following that software engineering, these phases or any development parts.
Hello, good evening. Myself, Man Jevani.
Yeah, good evening.
So my question is, what are the software engineering principles? Describe the type of it.
Okay. So the in software engineering principle, there are like mainly two or three that I know. The first is like testing, and the another thing is like we have to understand the requirement, and the also done the like analyzing part. So the mainly in principle we have to follow is like the requirement. Like when client gives us a project, like we have to understand the requirement, like how the client wants to uh, implement in that project, like what is the they have to introduce to our their users. So the main thing is the requirement. Then after another thing is the maintainability, and we have to make sure there is no bugs created after the development. So suppose we have like go through all the principles, we cannot get like as much that bugs or issues. So that is the principle we have to follow because of that.
Okay, so my next question is, how often do you use software engineering principles in your work?
Yeah. So the main thing I have followed in my like development part is the main thing is a requirement. So that like every developer is like lays part in the understanding the requirement. That's why some of the developer is like hired from for like some of the reason like you cannot understand the requirement. So the requirement means like suppose client give us the one functionality, and then you have to understand like how can this design is give us to the users, like how this functionalities work, what we have to display to the user. So with this kind of like understanding the requirement, we can make a good project and without any issues or complaints.
Okay. So my question is, you using the some of these software engineering principles, like
Yes, correct.
so in your recent project, what are the how can they help principles to improve your projects?
Okay. So the basically is maintainability and the as I said the project under requirement. So like currently right now I am working with one of the projects. So in that there is one functionality that I have to implement is the auto sync. Like you have any visited any application that is based on the offline based. If you have
Yes,
visited,
yes.
it is good to understand this kind of application. Like in that what you have to do, like suppose you have make one event, like you can
Ah,
guess it event like a music event or anything. In my
yes.
project there is a farmer event, but you can guess it like music event, so you can understand it better. So
Mm,
like for the music event you have to fill up the form, like what the DJ or what the singer you have to change or this kind of thing. And suppose after the filling form your network is disabled, means your data is not enabled, and you have saved the event. So now that event is stored in the local storage, like the you have
mm.
heard the mongodb.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so in the mongodb provide the real m storage, so that
Mm,
we are using the in the react native in my project. So after that we have to like push that our particular event to the server side. So with that, like there is a sync button on that, so after clicking on that your particular event is goes to the server. So now I have to done that auto sync part, like in every 50 minutes, if every like in real time data changes, we have to upload that particular event or anything into server. So I
mm.
have done this implementation by the main thing, understanding and requirement understanding. Suppose you are a leak of project, like leak of that functionality requirement, you get confused like how we can implement it, what are the levels, what you have to done, like you have to firstly done the
Uh,
POC, then you have to give us the demo, like how, yeah, this can we can done this. So yeah, using these kind of things, I have achieved these things in my project.
okay. So my next question is, have you ever used the software engineering standards, and what are the types of it?
Standards.
Mhm.
Standards, in my perspective, like standards, you can say code maintainability, like code is usable. Like suppose you have worked in some of the project and some of the third developer come and visit your code. So they have to
Hmm.
understand like why it's, how it's code
Ah,
written, and what is the use of that. So you have to like make a code readability better. So
okay.
using these standards, you can make yourself a better developer. And other thing, like if every if non-developer is comes, then also he can easily understand like why we can return this.
Okay. So my next question is, if I want to create a software, so what are the basic practices I have to do to develop a software?
So basically, you have to understand in which way you have to make a software. Like suppose you have accomplished your degree or college, so in which language are you working with? Like there are so many languages you can use, the React, Salesforce, React Native, Flutter. So what are the
Hmm.
like are you comfortable with?
We are compatible with mainly Reactor.
Okay, so suppose you have to make a make a project on React. So first thing, you have to follow that project life cycle, right? You have to
Hmm.
first analyzing the like why, like which topic is based on in our project, like what topics are included in our project. Like suppose you have one farmer website, so you have to done it like, yeah, we have to done one of some of the headquarters, and we have to collect the farmers information. And like suppose you have farmer information, then you have to also get that personal information, so that with this kind of things you can analyzing. By after the analyzing, you have to done the planning. Like planning means estimation. You have to give us the estimation to the client, like how does long your project is going on. And after then the designing part. So the basically for the designing, they are hiring some of the UX designer, they are designing to the our React pages. So you can refer that designing part and implement with your code. And the and the like fourth thing is the development. After that, you have to development based on that requirement, analyzing, planning, and that designing. So after the implementation, our product is goes to the QA. QA, what is QA?
No, we
Yeah,
have no idea. Okay.
QA means quality assurance. It is test our project based on that requirement matches. So after the testing is done, it will be goes to the deployment. Deployment means our website is goes to the live server.
Hmm.
So after that, we have to maintain that project. So that is the process. Suppose you have to make the software.
Okay.
Yeah. Practices. The main practice is the coding. Like suppose you have done any code, so you have to make it like code is optimized way. And suppose like you make one of the component, so you have to make sure like if that component is used in any of the screen, so you have to make one reusable component, so it can be like reduce our website size or application size. So this is the thing. The worst thing means like sometimes like we are just like what you say, you are just like finger on the QA, like why this is happening. So there is a QA part we watch the most, because that is the thing we are hitting QA. Yeah, they that are done in many ways. Like suppose you are did not follow a exact life cycle, so that's why this comes. Like they are testing. Like we have done, we are not the tester, but we are trying to test as much as possible from our side, right? So like for the tester work is like testing the all the scenarios. Like we have an application and we have a tested on the like our network is enabled, but tester is trying to make sure the all the scenarios cover. Like they are trying to test it in the offline device as well, and working it like everywhere. They are trying to like get that one of the bug and issue, trying the every possibility ways. So that is the thing.
So my next question is, what is software engineering documentation?
Okay. There's a software documentation means like you have to, suppose you have made up one project, but you have to make one documentation. In that there are things like there are thing is written in technical way, like what is the thing you have used in your project. So like all the technical things and non-technical things is written like project related in that document. Suppose like they have to share one of the document to the like next client or the next partner client, so they can easily understand like why this product and why this uh, particular functionality and what we have used in that particular functionality and that project. So this is the main thing why we are required the documentation. It is the proof like we have implemented this kind of thing, and you can refer this and learn this how we can implement this type.
Okay.
So, do you think documentation is helpful in a project?
Yes, the document is in the main thing like you have to done. Like you can done it by not like fully. Suppose you have to make a documentation, you can also make a documentation via module wise. Suppose there are you can like in the software development we are dividing our product a module wise. Suppose there are 5 developers and you have to divide a work by each developer, so not every developer can sit on bench. So that's why we are like dividing the module wise. So suppose you have created module wise documentation, it is good. Like suppose uh, you have a, like you are tired or you are like you are getting sick, so if our developer comes, so they refer the documentation and easily work with your code. So is that a good thing like when you created the documentation, like with this the dependency coming.
Okay, so my next question is, which are the software document tools that you need to work with, or are they helpful in your work?
Okay, so like there are so many softwares are available in the market, but one of the like software I use for documentation is the Jira. So the Jira provide the Confluence space. So in that you can return in the your documentation is based on like you can also link, also mention one of your developer they are also working with your module, and also GitHub is also I think provided this kind of thing. You can write your documentation. Okay. So actually, CMM is the methodology. Like they are providing some of the like methodology you can assist with you within your project. So like what is the best way you can done this particular things or the module. So basically, they are you have like ever work with the algorithms. So this kind of things is CMM provided. The your work is divided by some of the methods or anything. Yeah, this kind of things. Yeah, you can say that. Like in that, there are some of the levels. Like in which level you have like done with this kind of experience. Suppose you have a experience is more in the software development, then you can easily achieve like in which level are you are right now. Yeah. So basically, my level is the repeated. So basically, what level that provide like the planning and the what do you say planning and executing. So in that, like you have to plan your work based on that estimation and schedule your work. Like in this between time, you have to done your work and also give us the estimation like how that particular task is taken the time to like deployed or done. So this is a thing that right now I'm here.
So what are the ISO certification needed to for your software?
Okay. So basically, the ISO certificate means for the average software development, suppose it's because it's based on the requirement. Like, because there are some of the clients that are made of
Hmm.
their own ISO certificate. But I'll explain you the basically ISO what ISO certificate is provided. It's provided as your assurance. Like, yeah, like this product is owning you, and suppose you have to bid on you, so it is also used like verify to your product. So with this with these features you have to use that ISO certificate.
Okay. So what is ISO 9000 or 9001?
So it's basically types. It's ISO style. Like there are so many types. Like ISO 9000 is a basically type that every software engineering uses right now to assurance that project. So
Okay.
like there are so many also certificate other than ISO, but right now I didn't remember at any like name. So yeah, there is you can Google it out and check it out. Like
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So
So my next question is, what testing techniques do you use?
Okay. So what I use I am using the unit testing. So what it does, like suppose you have done the coding and your product is deploying on the server, you can say like when I click on this button, that model is open. When I enter the text is written in that particular text input. So that is the thing we have done by using that application, right? But in unit test case, you have to written the code for running that particular visualization. Suppose in that code you have to write the code for the clicking that button. So with that code you can run your application by the encoding way, not the like not you have to use the application, you can done it by the coding way. So yeah, we have used the unit test cases for the testing purpose. Correct. Hmm, basically we don't use this kind of techniques, like as this is the thing that you have to learn by the your like suppose you are learning the colleges, that's why they are just like with that black box and white box, but in like real scenario you don't want to use that black box and white box. Yeah. Yes, correct. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So technical depths means like you have to done some of the functionality, but it is in progress. It is in pending. Like you don't know these functionalities happen or not. So in these things, you have to just figure it out. These things can happen or not. So is that whole thing is called tech debt. Yeah.
okay. So what is automated testing?
Yeah. The automated testing means same as the unit testing, but in this your application is also running. So what you have to do, you have to done some of the code regarding automation testing. So when you are executing the test cases, your application is you, like automatic using that application and figure it out what issue in that particular cases in what scenario some button is clickable or not. So it is using like automatically your application based on the automation testing. Like you
So,
cannot get the manual tester for the testing.
okay, so in the industry, most of the which testing are used, unit testing or automated testing?
Like is based on the requirement. So somehow like client want to use both of the techniques, but it is used. We can like it is good if we can use the automation testing and unit testing both of the it, because of it we are our product is like more maintainable and not any like bugs or issues we can find out in a product.
Okay, so we are ending this session. So thank you for your time,
Yeah,
and we are okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's so nice to talk to you, guys.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you for your precious time, and we are really grateful for this.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.